And I doubled down. I'm here with my my shadow, my doppelganger, just for fun, because I somehow got this to work.
Yeah, two of them is what I immediately
Two of
said
them.
when we hopped in here. But hello everyone. Hi. If this is your first time tuning in to a talk and meeting me, and I'll introduce myself and my co-host will too. My name is Courtney. I'm the content operations manager at zoolife. And joining me today is co-host Chai. Hey, Chai, I will let you introduce yourself. There's two of you. Two of you to
There's two of me.
introduce.
It's okay. We're the same. Hi, my name is Chai, and thanks for stopping by. I am a content creator and artist on the internet. I work too much, and I'm not going to stop anytime soon. And I'm really glad that I can be a part of Zoo Life and try to bring more things to the table. Even if they're just little things, sometimes it's art. By the way, we're looking at the gorilla. That is a big man.
Yeah,
Is that actually a male or a female gorilla?
male. Yeah, male. That's Siddiqui, I believe. And I'm looking at the chat to confirm that's Siddiqui. I guess he was just waking up from a nap. I'm seeing
He,
some
he,
conversation about him not
he looks
moving.
like me after a nap.
Yeah, he's like, where am I? What reality
um,
am I in right now?
he'll settle down soon.
Yeah.
Disassociating will calm down.
zoolife Unscripted is kind of our, I guess you could say it's a relaxed format talk. It's not necessarily an information session where we're just talking about facts. It's also not just necessarily a coffee chat. Well, even though I'm drinking
I actually
coffee.
do have a. Funny enough, I'm
And
chai. I actually got a chai
yeah,
latte, dirty red here, sunset.
nice. I have something very sad to tell you, and the chat may also be upset with me. I've never
What?
had anything like chai related.
That's okay. I
Never
mean, have you
like,
ever had black tea before?
yeah.
Then you're close. That's like
It's
halfway there. Just put a little bit of cinnamon and like clove and cardamom, and that's it. Like you
uh,
made a chai
a
latte.
little a
It's a
little
little
bit of
more than that, but
seasoning. A little bit of seasoning. It has milk
yeah,
in
you
it
got
too,
to
right?
season it a
A
little
little
bit.
bit? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, it's. I've not made one yet because I'm like a little nervous to get it right. But it's like you make black tea and you boil it and then you put in the spices and then you like have like a froth cream in there as well, and then that's the chai latte usually. So hey, it's okay. I've never made one before,
Yeah.
but if you get a good place that makes one, you gotta try it at least. And if you don't like it, just pass it to someone else. I'll take it from you.
The reason why I brought up coffee chats is that's almost completely just conversation talks that are here on Zoo Life that are meant to be like just chatting with the community about things. Zoo Life Unscripted is kind of a middle ground between an educational talk and the coffee chat conversation talk, where obviously, as you guys can see, we're just chatting, but we're also focused on the animals, which Siddiqui is like, I love him so
He's
much.
vibing.
Yeah. Well, I love primates in general. Um, of any kind, but the great apes especially because, obviously there are our closest, not necessarily gorillas, but great apes. That's what we are. They are our closest living relatives, the closest being the chimp. Though, honestly, while I'm talking about this, if anyone in the chat knows, how much DNA do we share with bonobos? And I'll talk about bonobos for people that don't know what it is in a moment. But I was talking about bonobos last night, and I was like, I know they are not our number one closest, but I'm assuming it's like a 0.01% difference between how close we are to chimps and them since they're similar. So I have to ask you this
Uh,
now. Do you know what a bonobo
uh,
is?
a bonobo? Or is it really
Or
pronounced a
bonobo?
bonobo? I thought it was pronounced like bonobo for some reason.
Bonobo, I hear it both ways, and that's what's the most confusing part. I don't think either way is like technically incorrect. I think it's a regional thing, to be honest, and I don't know who I learned it from. You know what I mean? Like, if you watch a nature
Well,
documentary with David Attenborough, he probably says it differently than me.
oh, David Attenborough.
Or maybe he says it the same way as me, and that's where I picked it up from. I don't know where I got.
Hold on. I will do the funny and see if I can find a random YouTube clip where David Attenborough says the word bonobo. Hold on.
Thank you. He probably says it like that, and I'm the weird one out.
The top result is David Attenborough hates toads.
Does he?
Apparently.
Oh, question, everybody. I feel like I've heard a Toronto Zoo volunteer when during a talk about the gorillas before. I don't know if it was Siddiqui or Charles, but someone said one of these gorillas hates toads. Does that sound familiar to anyone in the chat? It's nothing that's
Some
ever happened on camera, but someone's talked about it in a chat here.
I know I actually have some friends that have like a weird like borderline phobia where they don't like frogs. And I mean that's fair. I'm not
So
not
it's
gonna
not out of the
judge.
norm for a gorilla to hate them.
No.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
why. It's just like a ew, they're gross, or oh my god, I don't want to even look at it. And I'm like,
Ye-
that is kind of
yeah.
speaking of animal. Here's
Pixie
my frog.
Pixie just said, Pixie. I see in the background. My as you said that, my frog, aka my cat, just hopped up here too. Do you want to be on camera as well? Pixie says Charles is afraid of frogs. I knew it. Yes, Charles hates toads, or so
Oh.
I heard. He must have had a bad experience when he was younger. He must have like licked one. I say younger. At some point in his past, I feel like he must have licked one, or one scared him, like hopped or loudly croaked, and now he's like, mm-mm. Apparently, from what I remember from that talk, and correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the chat, I feel like someone said the whole family troop is actually terrified of frogs and toads because Charles has taught them. Don't look don't look at that. Don't look at that
That's
weird
actually
creature.
that's actually really interesting. Are you telling me like the animal can just teach the rest? Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is bad. Don't get
Yes.
away from this. It's gross. That's
Yeah.
actually so funny.
Yeah.
And
Well,
it's like not even instilled in like the instincts of them. It's like taught.
yeah.
That's how smart these guys are.
Yeah, gorillas are amazingly intelligent. And just to circle back, and so it doesn't look like I forgot what you're talking. Just now, I'm like self-conscious about how I say this animal's name. Bonobos.
Well,
Bonobos.
here I got good news and bad news. I'm trying to look at a video
Yeah.
with the monkey,
Hmm.
and I think I found a joke post on the BBC where the bonobo is building a fire and toast marshmallows with it. Like it literally just lit a match and started making marshmallows. I'm like, what am I watching right now?
So that's why I was like, let me circle back to them because two things. Essie, you like define them I so perfectly. The lover apes. I call them the hippies. There are hippie relatives. Chimps. To be honest, it makes sense that our closest relatives are the chimps. Humans are very aggressive. We're very quick to temper and such. And then when it makes sense that out of the two similar great apes, chimps and bonobos or bonobos, those two, one is typically seen stereotypical more aggressive, and the other one is typically stereotypically considered the hippie. I'm like, it makes sense, I guess. Unfortunately, that chimps are the closest, but um, bonobos or bonobos look like smallish chimpanzees with whom they share 99.6% of their DNA. So thank you for this fact. Yeah, 90 humans share 98.7% of our DNA with chimps.
Holy crap,
Chimps
that's crazy.
share, this is like one of those math equations where it's like Tommy has 4 apples and Sarah has 3 apples. How many apples are there? Or something like that. So we are 98.7% with the chimps, and chimps are 99.6 with bonobos or bonobos. So we're pretty close. Like I said, it's a very small percentage difference. We're almost hippie level. We're almost hippie level. Um,
It's very interesting how close we are to a lot of different species. Like this sounds crazy, but I've heard things like eventually everything's going to just okay, call me super wrong, but I've heard a joke, but it's kind of true where things eventually just evolve into crab. Are we eventually just gonna like get carapaces and like
crabification or what is the actual term for that? I'm like, hold on. I say crabification. There's an actual term.
I mean I like that term because it makes me laugh, but there might be like a calcification or something
Oh yeah,
crazy like
it's
that.
carcinisation. I will copy
That's it.
paste this word for everyone in the chat because I know people are going to be like, "What?" Um, is an example of
I'm so excited
convergent
for my crab future.
evolution in which a crustacean evolves into crab-like form from a non-crab-like form. The term was introduced into evolutionary biology by L.A. Borderdale, who described it as one of the many attempts of nature to evolve a crab.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't wait to become a crab. I love
yeah,
animal life.
yeah. It's gosh, yeah. And convergent evolution, for those that don't know, it is independent evolution of similar features in species from different periods of time. So structures that keep reappearing. An example of convergent evolution that is actually, I know my camera keeps blurring it, but an example of convergent evolution is our hands. So, or I should
Don't
say
worry, the
our
blurring is just you're
hands.
starting to carcinize.
Become the
So
crab,
it's
yeah.
happening already.
So our hands are, I say our hands. I should say the bones and the structure of our hands. If you were to look at a bird wing, bat wing, whale, um, even like horse hoof in a way, like their foot. Um, all these animals, the tetrapods and such, we all kind of, though we share a similar line and such, we all evolved our features independently, but this is the same. These structures are the same in every animal. Even if you look at a bat wing, they have all the same bones. They're just like some are more elongated or more cylindrical. In whales and such, it's more condensed. Even the wrist bones. It's really cool. That is just one example of convergent evolution. It's really neat. We're talking about gorillas, and like Essie said, one of the problems with orphan apes, they don't know what to be afraid of, is no parent to teach them. And someone reacted with the little sad eye face, the begging face.
Oh,
It's
that
very
that is
sad.
sad
Yeah.
though. Interesting, but yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
that's an example of like people don't typically think of culture or learning as a thing that is evolved, and I guess it's like I feel like it's a side effect of intelligence in a way, but not all. I mean, to be honest, I think all animals are intelligent. They're just in their own ways intelligent, right?
yeah,
Like a jellyfish is intelligent for what it needs to be intelligent about, kind of
it's
thing.
it's really interesting
Yeah.
considering the Venn diagram between like a more like closer to sapient animal like a
Mhm.
gorilla
Yeah.
and the versus let's say my cat in here
Mhm.
who like a gorilla. I'm sure they have some instincts that are in there. Like you
He's
could tell me
peeking.
all
I'm
about
so
it, but
sorry. He was peeking through the window. I was like, keep going. I'm so sorry. I
no, you're good. You're good. I'm watching him too. He's checking him out.
he's watching.
Um, I'm sure there's like even like some instincts for a gorilla that they're like just born with. It's instilled in them. But it's like so interesting that there's a the way they like you said the way they
Mm,
grow up is they are taught a lot of things from the parental like or family unit
yeah.
versus like all those funny videos where if you drop like a cucumber on the floor behind your cat
Yeah.
and they see it and then they jump away, it's because it's not that they're taught to be afraid of snakes, but they have somehow, even through domestication, we have not like somehow ground that out of them. Unless the cat's really stupid like mine and they don't care. But
Hmm.
it's interesting how that works.
We keep going back and forth between specifics with gorillas or bonobos or just animal intelligence in general. But oh, he was trying to get a treat from the keepers. Yeah, I figured the way he's like, because that's one of the what I call the behind the scenes areas that looks into the indoor area there, one of the indoor areas. But I started by talking about Nasir and the Toronto Zoo trying to break Nasir's habit of wanting to look at people's phones because people used to show him phones all the time, and it actually was detrimental to his welfare and health in a way because he
Oh no.
wouldn't interact with Siddiqui as much, who's his they're a bachelor troop together, and it was affecting his relationships with the other gorillas and stuff. So the
It's
Toronto
like
Zoo,
real life.
yeah, yeah, that's the funny thing. Like people were like, "Oh, I wish humans had would think about it like this." But Toronto Zoo for the longest time has a sign being like, "Don't show your phones to the gorillas because you don't know what people are showing them." And I jokingly said, "What if people are showing them Planet of the Apes?"
What if they're showing them like gardenscapes and then they want to go and play like all these old like
Yeah,
stop,
this is
you're gonna
it.
steal your parents' credit card and spend too much money on the
Yeah,
store.
yeah,
The
yeah.
gorillas are playing for
They're playing Fortnite. But we started with that conversation, which that's been talked about a few times here in talks and such. So nothing, and it's all good now. Just keep in mind, don't show your phones to zoo animals, just in case you never know. Um, Even if a zoo doesn't have a sign. But that led into a conversation of how intelligent animals are. But also, people were like, some people I was talking to, they were like, why is it so interesting to them? And I was like, well, just think about us, right? Like, ooh, TikTok, it feeds the dopamine where you're like swiping, 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 and you're looking at more and more engaging things. But
Mhm.
imagine if today you had no knowledge of smartphones, right? No knowledge. Like, no, I wouldn't say no technology knowledge because the gorillas have a TV to watch that the
I
keepers
mean,
like the keepers get to choose what they watch. I'm sure the gorillas have input in a way, but like they
I
know
grew up
what
in a world
technology
without
is, but if
phones,
they've
yeah.
never really looked at a smartphone, like, maybe they've seen the keepers have them, right? But they're like, eh. But then someone suddenly like is like, hey, look at this, and like
Yeah,
they show them magic tricks on their phone. It's gonna blow their mind. Like imagine if that happened to you. You didn't know what smartphones are, and suddenly someone pulls it up and there's a little person on a screen.
exactly. They're
You're gonna
gonna
be
be very interested.
confused.
It's
Yeah.
it's like they all they see is like a flat rock that shows pictures with
Yeah,
lights and noises. That's going to
yeah.
be very interesting to any animal,
Yeah, and I mean, you
except for
can
the
obviously teach them what a smartphone is, but I'm just talking about like that initial, like what it is. And just to kind of just real quickly from the chat, late coming in here, Nessier loves to watch movies. Many times seen him in the day room glued to the TV. Yeah, so like they're just like us in a lot of ways. They like cartoons and nature shows chosen by the keepers. Yeah, so the keepers get to choose. But me talking about like how, imagine someone just showing you a smartphone suddenly. You'd be pretty mind blown by it. Um,
Mhm.
that led into a conversation. There is, I always forget the full name of this facility, and one day I'll have it committed to memory because I only recently learned about it like a month ago. There's an AZA accredited facility in Indiana. I think, I don't know if it's open to the public normally, but it's not meant to be a zoo. It's like the Ape Cognition Initiative or something like that, but it is a bonobo slash bonobo um research facility. And I want to say, like, when you hear of a primate research facility, your immediate thoughts probably animal testing. That's not what this is. It is behavioral study place to be used in understanding them in the wild and conservation. It's gorgeous. Like, their outdoor habitats
Yeah,
are gorgeous. Well, of course, it's gonna blow your mind, Chai and chat. Of course, there was some Minecraft YouTuber that was like, what if we taught an ape, which is funny because we're apes, but ignore that fact. What if we taught an ape how to play Minecraft? And so I guess they got in contact with this research institute, and they already do behavior studies. They already have like a big touch screen for the bonobos to play on, or not, to do studies on. So they just made, like, this guy made a custom Minecraft server that was bonobo friendly kind of thing, and they taught this bonobo how to play Minecraft,
that's crazy.
like
I mean,
breaking
that's good though,
blocks.
because
He even went off against like the Ender Dragon. I've never played Minecraft, but I know these like basic things. And it was this. Everybody kept saying, "quote unquote," this man sweating because there was like difficult levels, and the Bonobo would do this, and it keep playing. And I'm like, I feel that with video games.
but
I
that's
feel
that's
that.
actually really cool though too. Like, I mean, whenever I think of like, I got friends with kids, and
Mhm.
I'm thinking about like them introducing games to their kids, and I'm like, Minecraft is actually a lot of like it basically. I feel like in a way it's a digital format of giving your gorilla a bunch of blocks to play with. They have to get creative and stack them and realize how it works. So that's really cool, actually.
Yeah, like from that conversation, it led into this conversation of animal intelligence, and we were like hopping around from conversation to conversation, like talking about gorillas. We were talking about orangutans. One zoo brought in a magician to, like, just as like enrichment for the orangutans, and there was this cutest little baby orang that was like it was a very simple magic trick. Like, I can't remember what it was, but as soon as it happened, this orang just like it looked, this is anthropomorphizing a little bit, but it's still a babe. It's still a baby gray ape, so it's very similar. But it kind of like started what I would compare to cackling, like just like overjoyed, like fell backwards and was like just so excited about what you just saw, and even led to a conversation about crows, who, you talk about, we talk about animal culture, and elephants pretty well known for their culture, like the funeral process that they do, and elephant graveyards actually being a thing. It is a thing. But it led into a conversation about crows that I don't feel like a lot of people know. They don't necessarily have funerals and that they bring like flowers or things, but when one of their flock, I should say murder. That's actually what their
A
group is
murder
called.
of
Is a
crows.
murder of crows. When a member of that murder is killed or dies, they will all gather around it in like a spiral formation, and they're all yelling, but they're all looking at the dead crow or raven or corvid, and group of birds. They'll look at it, and it is to basically analyze the situation and understand how that member died to avoid it, like to learn from whatever happened. And it's a learning experience for them where they're like, whatever killed this thing. And I don't know how they quite handle natural death. Maybe they realize it's natural, like, I guess in the wild it's very unlikely for, there's probably not too many like old age, like they just died a sweet little life, you know but yeah, they circle and they yell and they learn from it. And yeah, Coco
Uh,
the gorilla learns sign language, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
love that because, like, like as soon as you say they gather around the body and they scream, I'm like, this is so dorky, but I wore this shirt today. That reminds me of see, I'm a big Trekkie, and it reminds me of the Klingon and how
I
they
love it.
will
Yeah, I love it.
simply, scream and like do it like a ritualistic scream to bless the passing into Stovacor.
That's the
So
crows.
I'm like, oh my god, these crows are cool.
Yeah. The boys did just go in, which is actually perfect timing because. Chai, do you have any last words to share with everyone before we head on?
Just the same thing you said. I hope everyone checks out all the cool stuff here on Zoo Life. There's so many amazing exhibits. Thank you so much, Courtney, for your amazing time. And yeah, this is kind of like chatting with your friends at the zoo, except one of the people is a professional zoologist who knows a lot of stuff and
One's
has probably a book in their hand.
one's a flamingo.
And yeah, that's a flamingo with me. The last thing I'll leave everyone is one more fun fact I just Googled because I was curious what it chat. I'm not going to give you time to think about an answer, but I'm going to ask and then answer. What do you think a group of vultures is called? That's right, a wake or a kettle or a committee. I like that a lot. I think that's really cool.
Thank you so much for tuning in to zoolife Unscripted. My name is Courtney. I am the content operations manager at zoolife. Joining me today was Chai, um, Twitch partner slash artist slash friend of mine slash flamingo slash
There's a lot
occasional
of adjectives.
host on zoolife too. This is the
Hmm.
Western
I'll try to
Lowland
see y'all
Gorilla.
next Monday.
Oh yeah, more art. Ooh, more art.
I gotta pick one, and I'm gonna do another painting. I really gotta put some time into that. I love doing
Absolutely. Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Hmm.
But this is the Western Lowland Gorilla habitat at the Toronto Zoo. Those are the keepers putting out treats, which probably means either the boys will be back out soon, or maybe the family troop will be out. Keep an eye. Let the keepers, the gorillas will be back in a moment or two. They're just cleaning and setting up food for them. But while you're waiting, why don't you head over to the giraffe habitat? Go listen to the talk there. And probably by the time that talk is done, you'll have some gorillas here. So you can maximize your time here on Zoo Life. In any case, that's the end of Zoo Life Unscripted for today. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a rating. And we hope you guys have a great rest of your afternoon, day, morning, evening, night, wherever you may be in the world. And we'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye, everybody.